first game tonight. I'm a big fan of this line. We got Memphis playing.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. Memphis has been they've absolutely been a wagon.
yeah, last week was the first week that line actually wouldn't have hit. The first half total would have missed last week. Um, but it's hit every other week this season.
and
Um,
and I'm not 100% sure what the thought process there is, other than simply they're playing at Rice.
yeah, they're playing at Rice. Rice tends to play a little bit slow. Although they gave up like 60 something points to um, who was it that they last played? They gave up 60 something points to where is it? Stop pulling up tickets, stop. Um,
Oh,
they gave up
UTSA.
61 points yeah.
I wish I'd known
Um,
that. I wish I'd known that yesterday. Had been aware of that. Not that Rice is anything special, and I
yeah, but
certainly
that
don't put them in
UTSA can
the.
actually score.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
certainly don't put them in the Tulane category. But boy,
right.
did they make a fool out of me last night?
You know, yeah, I think for future reference we should just stay away from UTSA anytime they're playing. They had that little scandal last season where one of the Memphis players actually sent the quarterback the playbook. You know, so UTSA actually won that game against Memphis last year that they really had no business being a part of.
Yeah,
Um,
and
so
and and I know there was, and I even kind of had a little conversation with one of my buddies in Vegas about this, because Summerall's name has come up already in some of the
yeah,
coaching searches for some of these bigger schools,
right.
and I thought it could be a factor, like in maybe he's not 100% focused. The game prep may not have
Yeah,
been as thorough as it normally would
yeah,
have, but I
yeah,
still felt like, just talent wise, I mean, Tulane's got to have much better talent collectively than UTSA. So I
yeah.
really didn't expect it to be. I certainly didn't expect to see what we saw. But they just could not get out of their own way.
All right.
I had to turn it
Yeah,
off. I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
I can't sit here and watch this. I'm just going to stew in it and be miserable. So
Yep. So, but anyway, Rice. What we see here is Rice can give up a lot of points. They are actually really bad on third and fourth down. That sounds familiar. Uh, they're
eerily familiar.
they are so. Actually, no, they're terrible against the pass. And Memphis has a pretty strong passing game. You- Memphis is going to win. I mean, barring something crazy, like they had against UAB, which I don't expect them to drop another egg like that. Memphis should win this game handily. It's a 13 and a half point spread. I don't think I'd take that one, but that total 24 and a half for the first half, that's got to be a slam, and they're actually
Oh,
giving that at pretty favorable odds right now. You can get it for better than minus 110 on most books. So we're going to be
yeah,
taking that one in this game tonight. And, if you want to sprinkle any on the spread, you can. I probably wouldn't take that spread. Not
yeah,
Memphis tends to play a little bit down away, although they
yes.
do seem to play better on weeknight games away. So they're kind of an anomaly of a team. But
Yeah, and this Rice uh, rushing attack it's a little wonky. It's not quite like a triple option or something like the Air Force
yeah,
Academy or would run, but it's still, if it's something you don't see every day, and those sometimes can surprise you. So
right.
I could easily see them popping you know Memphis doesn't play a set right, and they pop a big one get a touchdown early, that kind of thing. So, I think Rice can contribute to that first half total for sure. But yeah,
One of the
this is the lowest
oh
first
yeah,
half
yeah,
total we've
yeah.
seen all season for
Right,
Memphis.
right. Yeah, since I think it might have been this low first week until they figured out that Memphis still had a powerful offense. But
Yeah, I want to say the first week though was 26.5 for
might
the
have been.
first half
Mhm.
total. So yeah, it's going to be really difficult not to lay
Yeah.
Memphis.
Well,
Yeah,
one of the things I like in this matchup for pretty quick scoring is that Rice has a tendency to give away really bad field position to the other team, and if they give up a few early drives and bad field position, Memphis is definitely going to take some shots, and I would be willing to say they should hit some of those shots. So
yeah, and Memphis can create turnovers. Their defense is pretty it's pretty aggressive, and they play with their hair on fire. So
yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of things that could get us to that number, and I think especially it's basically right now. I mean, FanDuel's got it at -102.
yeah,
So
right, yeah,
I
they've got good
really,
odds on it.
yeah. So
I
I'm
love
I'm
it.
with you on it, man. Yeah, I'm gonna pop that one too.
So then you might have to help me out on the ones that I actually told you about because I didn't write them all down and I've got it
Yeah.
stuck in that message.
Well, we're
Um,
both on this. We're both on this Boise Fresno total.
okay, yeah. What's the total on that one? It's
Uh,
like is it 60.5 or is that the other one that I sent you?
yeah, I think it's the other. It's 50.5.
50 and a half. Yeah, Boise and Fresno, right? 50 and a
Yeah.
half. Yeah. That that one almost needs no discussion at all. I mean, these are two teams that both play pretty fast pace. They both have pretty strong, um, quick offensive attacks, and likewise, they've also both been guilty of giving up quite a few points this season. The projections for this game actually have it going under. Uh, a lot of the projections that I've seen are somewhere in like the 30 to 16 range, which I don't see how that's going to work out. I can't see this game going under 50.
Yeah, and Fresno has had some trouble a couple times this season moving the football, scoring points.
Uh-huh.
But I think this game went over last year. I know it went over 2 years ago because it was almost 70 points because Fresno State upset Boise. And then I've seen some score predictions out there and somewhere in like the 38-14,
Yeah,
38-17 range, which would easily get this game over on the total. So I agree
right.
with you. And I think Boise needs to do I think Boise needs to get right and
Yeah,
put a good showing up because the group of five thing is still pretty kind of wide open with all of the
it is. I
with
mean,
all the
it's
upsets.
well, the reality of the situation is that Memphis has it in hand right now.
Yeah, that's the way it
They've got
appears.
it in hand for sure. It's theirs to lose, which would require, Navy would have to beat UNT, and then they'd probably have to beat Memphis as well, and that's probably the only team that has a chance of making it, over Memphis, unless. Well, a lot of things have to fall into place. Navy has to lose twice. UNT, they've already got two losses, I believe. South Florida's got two losses. Memphis loses one more, they've got two losses, and then you're wide open. And then yeah, you might see Boise sneak in there again.
Yeah, because Memphis, they've got Rice tonight, but the balance of their schedule is they host Tulane next Friday, and
Yeah,
then they play at East Carolina, which that can be a little bit of
yeah,
that
yeah,
can be a little bit of a scare.
right,
And then they host Navy, and
yeah,
obviously that game is monumental if they
right.
both continue, to win. So
That's going to be an interesting matchup when we get to that because Memphis always has a hard time with Navy. They
yes,
always have a hard time with Navy.
yeah, and I think how they play, obviously they have to deal with Tulane and then playing at East Carolina. Then they get I think they have a bye. If I'm reading the schedule right, it looks like they, or maybe it's just the dates because they play on goofy days in this conference.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, it's going to be very. It's going to be a very monumental game as we sit here today looking at it. So yeah, and that's another reason that I really like Memphis to go in there and really just kind of put the hammer down on Rice. There's no reason they shouldn't win this game. Huge favorite on the road, and they just pulled off a huge win against South Florida. So yeah,
Right.
I think Memphis kind of keeps rolling. And based on what I saw from Tulane last night,
They might
East
be checked
Carolina
out.
game is going to be tougher. Yeah, East Carolina game is going to be tougher than the Tulane game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you 100% riding on Memphis, but we derailed off of the Boise game and Fresno game and talking about the group of fives. But
Right.
yeah, Boise's a big favorite here, and I don't see them slowing down. I think they'll score as much as they can because
Agreed.
albeit an outside chance, I still think they have a shot.
Definitely. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be there at the end, and so they can't let up, especially not sorry, Mr. Gabriel, our friend out in Fresno. This Fresno State team's not going to get in their way. It's just a matter of can they contribute enough to get to that number, and I feel like they can. Even if it's garbage time. Yeah, even if it's garbage time, it may be a backdoor cover, but hey, cover's a cover. So yeah, I'm 100% with you on that, and for no other reason, basically, I've just learned to not get in front of you when we're on opposite sides. I'm like 0-4 with you and Josh this season.
On the ones that we have.
Yeah, man. So I'm like,
on.
if I see it, I'm like, oh hell no, I'm changing that. No, I ain't getting in front of that. So you referenced it. We mentioned it, talking about this little group of five race to the finish. So Navy and North Texas.
Navy and UNT, yeah.
Gonna collide. You like the under in this game at 60.5.
Is it 60.5? Oh, that line has moved up to 65.5, I believe.
Whoa.
Let me double check that.
Oh.
Let me double check that.
And that's entirely possible because
if I put 60.5, I think it was a typo.
No, dude, you're right. It's 65.5.
Yeah, that was a typo. It's 65.5, and yeah, I'm taking the under on that. Mainly, again, these are two teams that absolutely can run up the numbers. Definitely UNT can run up the numbers, but in my opinion, the only way Navy gets a chance of staying in this game is by slowing it down. If they slow it down, they run their little triple option that they love to run. They just march on the field. Then they're gonna be able to hold these points down. And 65.5 is just a ton. You're gonna tell me that the game plan for Navy is gonna be to have a shootout with North Texas, and I just don't see that.
No, not the way their offense operates.
No.
There's a lot of people calling this game over.
Yeah, good. I want them to. I'm going to nail that under 65.5 all day. Yeah. And I'm fine. If I'm wrong, I'm fine. I don't mind.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you.
But I look at it from a scenario
last night. So
I look at it from a scenario perspective. And if I were the coach of Navy, I don't want this to be a shootout game because we're gonna get boned if we get in a shootout with that team.
Yeah. The only thing concerns me is North Texas does give up a lot of yards on the ground. They're averaging giving up almost 191 yards on the ground, and that Navy Russian attack is. I'm a big Bo Harvath fan, man. I love him and Hayes King, dude. I just love. They're just football players, and I love how they play. But that's a lot of points, though.
If this game, if Navy runs away with this game kind of early, then it's definitely going to go over because North Texas has a tendency to just lay down on defense if they start getting beat. So that's my two scenarios. scenario number one is Navy tries to slow the game down and keep it close, might sneak away, with a win. Scenario number two, the only scenario I see it going over is if Navy wins this game and they just run away with it, kind of like what USF did to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And because they got completely disjointed in that game, and South Florida just they smelled the blood and they stepped on their throat.
Yeah,
So,
Golish was mad about something. He didn't like something that happened, and he just tore him up.
Yeah, I think I'm not getting on the wrong side of you on this, but I think I am going to probably let this at least get into about midway in the first quarter before I jump in on this. I definitely could probably throw this in a teaser.
Yeah.
And either, drop it down and bet over or run it way up and take it under. What maybe just in your mind, kind of what do you think the final score ends up being in this game? Since you like the under, so we kind of know what we're not going to get to. So how do we not get there, I guess would be my question.
So, kind of as I mentioned in the scenario that I have in mind, Navy has to do everything they can, not necessarily to slow them down on offense, because I don't know if they can stop North Texas's attack, but by slowing them down and making them get worn out on defense, just running these grueling, long, drawn out drives. So I'm thinking final scores somewhere 31-24.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking back over Navy's games this year, and I mean, let's throw out the VMI game where they hung 52 on them. Navy scored 38, 42, 21, 34, 32, and 42. So
North
Rice
Texas
was the
has scored
only game they didn't get at least into the 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may have to.
Yeah, if you're gonna tease it, tease it lower and take it over. That's definitely the smarter play.
Yeah, I think that's probably how I will play this.
There's zero chance this ends up being like a 14-14 game. It's not going to happen.
It ain't gonna be no 13-10 game.
No. I just don't see it. I don't see it being a 35-30 game.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Navy Air Force game, and Air Force played out of their minds. Was really surprised in that game, and that game only got to 65.
Right.
And there's nobody that Navy is going to play harder against than Air Force or Army. So, I don't know, man. This one's really, it's pretty high on my watch list this week.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very entertaining game, and I kind of hope we see a little bit of defense, to be honest. But I think you're right. As much as Navy loves to run the ball, I could definitely see this. And I think North Texas, even though they give up a lot of yards, they're stingy in the red zone. Mm-hmm. So I could see this, limiting possessions between both the teams. And as long as nobody jumps out to like a huge, like 2 or 3 score lead, then I think this thing can grind out. Especially if Navy gets a big lead, then they'll grind it out. But if North Texas jumps out there, then Navy can score. They can score in a hurry.
Yep.
So all right, so we'll take that. We'll take that approach on that one. I'm gonna tease it down, bet it over, and then jump in somewhere live and see how the game flow goes. So, all right. So the next one that you mentioned you wanted to talk about was, we got Peabody going down to Austin, and the to be determined quarterback of the Texas Longhorns. Right now, it looks like Arch has improved from questionable to game time decision. And that could be a little bit of gamesmanship on Sark's part, or it
Yeah.
could simply be they just got to wait and see how he feels when he gets up in the morning. I mean, it's sometimes
Well, I
it's
mean,
legit.
from what we saw of the backup, was he not potentially better than Arch? That's
I
the
mean,
thing. I don't even know.
I thought so, but who am I?
Yeah. So this is this is a 3.5 point spread, right? Is it 3.5 points?
It may have dipped down. Let me see. I always like to check the latest and greatest when we talk about this stuff because sometimes that
What is
hook
this
matters.
motion?
The last I saw it was it's down to
Two.
2.5.
Yeah, but that's teased up. That's at plus 102. I mean, I'd take the 3.5 here.
Yeah. Give me Vanderbilt and a field goal. Yeah, I like that a lot. And quite frankly, I mean, honestly, I hate it. I really hate it. But I think Peabody
Yeah.
goes down there and wins this game.
Yeah, I actually do like them to win this game too. Just because I think they've got a good thing rolling. I mean, they're more on the upswing, and Texas is more on the downswing, just kind of hanging on for dear life. Um, I think Pavia is gonna, put together the best game that he can. He's not much of a passer. I know he's got, stuff in the Heisman talk, and quite honestly, I think that he's reasonable of being a Heisman candidate despite his stats being, less than stellar. Because to me, the Heisman means more than just like stats.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it's supposed to be the best player in college football,
right,
not the quarterback that has the
well,
gaudiest stats.
but to me, you can't watch those games and see some of the stuff that he pulls off on plays that are dead, to keep them alive in games. You can't watch that and tell me that, he's not one of the most impactful players in college football this year.
Yeah, and
Whether he's the Heisman guy or not, I don't know, but as of
he's
right
definitely the
now,
MVP. He's Vanderbilt's MVP without
yeah.
question.
Oh, not even, yeah,
And the other thing too, man, is Texas went into Nashville last year and they only won by 3,
yeah.
and that team was much more talented and
Much more
had
put together.
better cohesion than what we've seen from Texas this year. I still think they have NFL caliber players on defense, but they've been
They've got a good
very
defense.
susceptible. Yeah, but they've still been susceptible. And one thing that Diego's been able to do is, like you just said, he's able to work a little Mahomes like magic and pull some crazy stuff out. And I just think Vanderbilt can just wear them down.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I mean they're
Well,
not necessarily flashy, but
let's not discount Vandy's defense. Vandy's defense is pretty solid. I mean, they put Missouri. Now, I would say that Eli, Dink made a ton of coaching errors in that game,
definitely.
but they kept Missouri pretty handcuffed. So, and I believe that Missouri has a much more powerful offense than Texas does.
Yes, definitely. So the only thing that concerns me is if they get a little shell shocked and Texas is able to come out, hit some big plays.
Yeah, but
early,
I don't see
get some
that happening.
scores.
That's not the identity of this team.
No, it's really not. And obviously the quarterback is going to play a part in this as well. But their run defense is pretty stingy. So I'm kind of leaning over more so than a side. Excuse me, under more so than a side. Just because I think, point wise, Texas is stingy. Now they can give up some chunk, but they don't give up a lot of points. I mean, a little over 14 a game.
Two decent defenses going up against each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have we got a questionable quarterback at Texas, no matter who plays.
Right.
But when you got a questionable quarterback and, a team that's, that's not to say Texas is completely out of the playoff hunt, but they're on life support. Everything for Vandy's in front of them. At least they get to Knoxville. So I definitely like the under, no matter who is under center for Texas. But I'm with you. If I can get Vandy better than a field goal, I'm taking Vandy in the points, and that's a perfect teaser, both in total and spread with Vanderbilt. So I'm definitely including that in well, I say ticket because I'm not going to get burned like I did last night with Tulane. So
Yeah, I'm taking the 3.5 and taking Vandy there. I like the matchup of Vanderbilt's offense being able to outplay Texas's defense a little bit more than Texas's offense can play out Vandy's defense. That's the only reason I like that play. And then I'd give a couple of points to Texas for being at home. That's about it.
Yeah, I agree. Because it's definitely it's going to be a raucous environment for sure, and I don't know that it bothers. I don't know that it bothers Diego, but it can affect communication with other players, and that can definitely cause issues with penalties and such. So, all right, good deal, man. So the next one you got on your list here is Minnesota, and you like the Gophers -3.
Yep, and then that's another one that I gotta tease it. You gotta tease it to -3. Because the actual line is -3.5. If you're able to find -3, if you can't, I'd go ahead and take 2.5. You're giving up a little bit of payout there to do that, but this is at Minnesota. I think Minnesota is a team that can run it up. Again, I find that they're more of a team that's on the upswing of things versus a team that's not necessarily on the upswing of things. I could definitely see Minnesota winning by a touchdown or more, but to be safe, let them do a walk-off field goal. That's a good way I could see this game ending. Michigan State's not good, like basically across the whole board. They're on the lower end offensively and defensively for all the Power Four conference versus Minnesota's defense is actually fairly good. I think they got ran out one game this year. So I see Minnesota wearing them down, knocking them out in what should be a cold game, taking it home.
Yeah. I've only seen Michigan State play for maybe half of one game and maybe a quarter of another game, but what I've seen has been awful.
Yeah, they're not good,
and they're not great against the pass. They're even worse on the road. They give up over 160 yards rushing on the road and over 250 yards passing. And it's going to be cold, you're right, but it's not going to be like in the 20s. It's going to be in the 40s.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's not going to really impact as long as there's not wind.
To me, that's cold as crap. I avoided going to the golf course today because it was in 40.
Dude, I'm with you. I stepped outside. I had a doctor's appointment this morning. I stepped outside. It was 41 degrees. Came right back in, put a sweatshirt on, and
that's not my jam.
Yeah, it was a long sleeve hoodie,
not
a short sleeve one. But another game that I like the under in because to your point, Minnesota's defense, at home they're only giving up about 13 points a game.
Right.
And Michigan State just can't score.
You're right.
There's nothing good to say about this Michigan State.
Their third down conversion rate is just horrific.
Yes, it is. It is terrible, and and they've got some quarterback issues as well. So if you're on the road and you've got issues at quarterback and you're playing against a stingy defense, it's a recipe for disaster.
Not a good setup.
Yeah, and Minnesota doesn't have to score a lot of points in this game. Because with the way they played Nebraska, I mean, it was 24-6.
Yeah.
So they don't have to score a lot of points. They just squeeze the life out of this god awful Michigan State team. So, and the 4 of the last 5 games between these two has gone under as well. So I really like the under, and I'm with you. I mean, even at 3.5, I don't hate it because I just think Minnesota can win this game by, I don't know, 10, 13 points
Right.
and not even score more than 30.
Yeah, I like them. I like them 7-10 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the window. But the safe play is Minnesota. And what is the official line? I looked at it and
It
forgot.
was
3.5.
3.5.
Still 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would tease it down to 2.5. I don't like. I hate 3.5
I do
lines.
too,
That's just the
man.
worst line in football.
Yeah, it is. I take that hook out of the equation. Just spend a little, give up 15 cents and get yourself a good number.
Right.
Don't let it bite you, because it will.
Yep.
All right, and then game I haven't even looked at. It wasn't even on my radar. And you've got it's the Washington State
Oh yeah.
game, and you like the Cougs. Are these feisty Cougars or just regular Cougars? I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah. Oh, you'll have to get that clarified.
Yeah, I'll check with her and see what kind of Cougar we're dealing with here. But yeah, they travel to Corvallis to take on the hapless Oregon State Beavers. So
Right.
you got the Cougars and the Beavers tangling. That's always a fun time. So
Whew,
you like
yeah.
you like Washington State in this game?
I do. The only thing that freaks me out about this game is because the line makes no sense.
I agree.
The line makes absolutely no sense because
Shouldn't
to
this be
me,
10.5? I mean,
yeah,
honestly,
to me, it should be 10.5. And I don't see that there's any massive injuries for Washington State that would lead that line to be so low. Um, we've seen Washington State come into Power Four teams and play them pretty well. They held didn't they? They almost knocked off Ole Miss a couple weeks ago.
yeah. I
And
think
I don't think that
we
was
were
a
on that
fluke.
game.
I don't think that was a fluke at all.
I don't either. And nobody really knew what to expect. I think from Washington State or Oregon State, for that matter, because they're the two step kids that nobody wanted in the divorce, and so didn't really even. Again, this game wasn't on my radar, but yet Washington State proved, because they were like a huge underdog in that game, and you and I were like, man, that's just too many points. I don't care who
it
you
was
are.
like, was it 25.5 points or something?
It was a lot, man. It was a
or
lot.
30. It might have even been 30 something.
I want to say it was in the 30s, honestly. I could probably go back and find it while we chatted up, but I feel like there was a ton of points that Ole Miss was laying, and we were both like, it's just too many points, for crying out loud. It's been a while, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was 32. It was 32.5.
I thought it was in the 30s, yeah, because it was just a crazy number. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I do not understand. Just fresh eyes on it, I do not understand at all why that's 3.5.
No,
Washington State.
No, it's an awful Oregon State team. This Oregon State team is just terrible.
That might be a ladder. I may run that up to like 9.5 or something. Just for fun. Last time I did
I think they clear 6 easily.
Yeah. Oh yeah, touchdown easily by a touchdown. Yeah, I don't know. What do they know?
Play again in like 3 weeks. They play again in 3 weeks at Washington. So
yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, just goofy. I guess that's what happens when you're a 2-team conference.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can't play each other every week. So,
right.
That would make for a miserable season. So, all right. Was there anything else college-wise, Loose, that you?
That's all that I had written down. Unless you had a couple more that you wanted to go over.
There's a couple I want to throw out there, get your thoughts on. One is the Ohio State Penn State game.
We can do a lightning round on it.
That's right, we can. I don't usually get too involved, although I did last week with a couple. Unfortunately, both came home. But I like Ohio State, even though it's minus
Right.
20 against Penn State.
You got minus 20. It's minus 18 and a half.
Great.
You're on the wrong side, buddy.
Well, I know this. Ohio State is 9-1-1 against the spread as a
Mm-hmm.
home favorite of at least 20 points or more.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that just screams system play.
Correct.
Number one. And number two, I really believe that this Penn State team has just absolutely checked out on this season. Because
You'd have to
everything
think
I've heard
so.
since Franklin got fired, everything I've seen and heard is how much support he had from the players that they didn't want this to happen. And based on their play, I don't see any life in this team whatsoever. And Ohio State's on a mission because they've got Indiana nipping at their heels.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Texas A&M sitting there at number 3, and Ohio State and Indiana don't play regular season. So that Big Ten championship game, I think Ohio State needs to go in there rolling. So
Yeah.
I don't see Ryan Day letting his foot off the gas in this one. I think he just absolutely takes him to the woodshed, and history supports that anyway. That 9-1-1 against a spread of 20 or more favorites.
Well, shoot. I mean, the only Ohio State has won almost all of their games by at least 18 points. So that 18 and a half line makes it funky. Because they've had a couple of games that have gone right at 18.
Yeah.
I agree with you on, Penn State kind of checking out. I definitely, I don't think Ohio State will have any problem closing this game out, but I could see that Penn State could possibly show up and try to, make some noise in this game. Whether they can or not, that's another story.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll be motivated, though. I'm sure they'll be motivated to try to put a good game together. I just don't know that they can.
Yeah. And, the other piece to that for me, too, is, Julian Sayin has progressed pretty dramatically since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he's playing all right, yeah.
Yeah, because, they were really relying on defense, to start the season out, and still are, no question. But Sayin's been putting up some pretty impressive numbers over the last few weeks. And, I feel like this is, even though it's not the case, we all expected Penn State to play off and yada, yada with them. It's still Penn State. It's still one of their biggest threats and rivals historically in the conference. And I don't think that they're going to care about their, poor coach got fired situation. Sure. I think it's belt to ass time in Columbus. So, and the other game I wanted to just get your thoughts on, I haven't made a play on this yet, and that's the Georgia Tech North Carolina State game. This game is in Raleigh. The spread's sitting at plus 5.5 for NC State. 58.5 is the total. This NC State team's a little bit sneaky good, especially on offense. Do you have any thoughts on this, or have you looked at it at all from
NC State? I'd say that I don't know that I'd necessarily say that they're sneaky, but they're kind of bipolar. They either show up or they don't.
Yeah.
They've had a recent run of games where they've only won one of their last 5 games. All 3 of those 4 that they've lost in the last 5, they've lost by a bunch. The only one that was close was the Virginia Tech game. They lost that at home 23-21. So they're on a slide, man. The only game that they've won in the last 5 weeks has been against Campbell, which I didn't even know Campbell had a football team. Yeah, I agree with you that NC State can be sneaky. They've got a QB that's put up a ton of yards, but I don't see anybody slowing Georgia Tech down. The spread that I see right now is 4.5. I'm guessing you got 5.5. So obviously there's action on the NC State side. But yeah, I don't see Georgia Tech getting slowed down at all. I think they're gonna obliterate these guys.
Okay. Yeah, because
Georgia
excuse me.
Tech had that one close call at Wake Forest.
Yeah,
So,
Lake.
you
Yeah.
know, but then, so maybe you could have said, oh, well, maybe they have trouble playing in North Carolina, but then they go and they beat Duke pretty handily. Duke's a much better team than this NC State team,
Yeah.
as referenced by the matchup that they had earlier this season where they beat them by 12. So, yeah, I could easily see this being a much big double digit win.
I just with NC State. I mean, you understand, their record and kind of on this skid, but also they've played a pretty tough schedule,
They played a tough schedule, yeah, right.
and they're ranked 74th in total defense, and they only give up a little over 4 yards a rush.
Yeah, that's
They
crazy
went.
because they give up a lot of points.
Yeah, yeah, it is kind of crazy, and some of that I think is probably some goofy turnovers and things like that. But um, I think we're going to see some points in this game for sure.
Yeah,
Because I think C.J. Bailey is going to be able to have some success against Georgia Tech's passing defense. But you're right. I mean, I don't see anybody slowing down Georgia Tech's rushing attack.
no.
And big Haynes King fan is. I don't know, man. It just NC State went down there last year and covered as a dog, and so I don't think this is as bad of a spot for NC State as maybe just a high level, looking at Georgia Tech's record
Yeah,
versus NC State's, because they've played some tough games. So getting almost a touchdown at home, I'm not 100% sold on it. That's why I want to get your thoughts, but the over definitely looks appealing.
you could definitely take the over here. I could
Yeah,
see a bunch of points being scored. Um, I really think that this game is going to go a lot like the game they played last week against Pittsburgh. Now I don't think it's going to be 50-30, but I think that they're going to get handled pretty easily.
yeah, okay, yeah. I don't have just an overwhelming urge to back NC State in this one because Georgia Tech's just not a team I really want to get in front of. In fact, I think they're going to give Georgia fits. But just didn't know if you thought this might be a spot where they may not be at their
A little
best.
letdown. Well, who do
Yeah.
they play next week? Let's see who they play next week. Maybe that'll they could be looking ahead. Mm, mm, they got at Boston College next week. That's not really anything. That Pittsburgh game's going to be probably the toughest one.
Yeah.
Well, until
Yeah.
Georgia. So
yeah, they don't close the season out very 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 much fun for them. But back-to-back road games against weaker conference opponents, and then they host Pittsburgh. That's going to be a whale of a game. In fact, I'm on Pitt this week minus 14.5 against Stanford.
yeah,
I think they
Pitt's a good team.
They are, and this quarterback, they made a quarterback change, and this kid's just been on fire. Defense is solid, so I really like Pitt in this spot with against Stanford. So I guess that also brings us to the Tennessee game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma coming to town. What do you think just overall about this game, the matchup, and then you either got a play or a total prediction?
I don't really want to. I think I've said it before. I don't ever wager on any Tennessee games. I never do. I don't even really like. I don't even like to talk about the gambling aspect of it. Um, the only thing I'll say about my expectations of this game. We got Oklahoma coming in. Early in the season, you had Mateer, who was a pretty highly regarded QB. Everybody thought he was kind of a Heisman candidate. He suffered an injury. I don't know how much that injury is holding him back, or maybe this is just kind of his baseline starting to show. I'm sure the injuries involved a little bit. I don't think that they should have rushed him back the way that they did.
Yeah.
So you got a little bit of a vulnerable QB. You got, I think their offensive line is a little banged up too. They've got a couple guys out on the offensive line that could hurt them. So hopefully our upfront defense guys can just disrupt things enough to, give the secondary and give the guys across the middle a chance to compete, so that we can do something defensively, better than we've been doing. I'm not worried about our offense at all. Um, Ole Miss, I think we've got at least as good of an offense as Ole Miss. Ole Miss went into Norman and pretty much ran their offense just as effectively as they've played against anybody else. So I don't really worry about our offense matching up against their defense. We're going to be able to score. In my mind, I think we need to score 40 points in this game. I know that's a ton, but I really think that if we score 40, I'll feel pretty comfortable. If we're down closer to 30, I don't know how much comfort I'm going to have. But I think that this is one of those kind of Josh Heupel defining moment games where uh, he's he's tended to come and get the wins when he's needed them. This is one of those games that he really needs to win. At least until we go to Gainesville. So, well, and then probably the one at home again against Vandy. That could be a big game too. So I think that we pull the win tomorrow. It's set up for us to win. We're at home. We got a night game. We're doing dark mode. We've done everything, that gave us that advantage. So if we take care of the ball, limit turnovers, limit penalties, don't get behind the sticks, then we'll bring it home.
Yeah. Excuse me. I agree everything you had said, and I think this offense is not the same since Mateer's injury,
Yeah.
and he certainly hasn't looked like he did the first half of the season. And and I think a lot of that's probably John Mateer. I mean, I think Mateer wanted to play. I don't think he
Yeah.
wanted to miss time,
Yeah.
and I respect that. But at the same time, you can't hurt your team either. So the Texas game was absolutely abysmal. That did not look like the same Oklahoma team that we had seen in the weeks leading up to that game. And since then,
Yeah.
they haven't looked the same. And I said the exact same thing you just said about our offense is very similar to Ole Miss. And you saw how they exposed their defense. And,
Yeah.
People forget last year going into the fourth quarter, Tennessee led this game 22-3
Wow.
in Norman. And people can talk all they want to about, well, this defense is different and all blah, blah, blah. All I heard all year last year from
Yeah, it
Oklahoma
was how
were Danny
amazing their
Stutzman,
offense was. Yeah.
Danny Stutzman, how good their defense is. Well, 22-3 going into the fourth, and we were a couple dumb penalties and a mistake or two, and that game would have been not, the score did not indicate how close that game wasn't. So I expect to see the same thing this year, except with a lot more offense. We actually have a quarterback, not a volleyball player, playing the position. And granted, yes, our defense has been suspect to some big chunk plays and some, self-destruction. I think at the same time, we've sort of accepted that we're going to have to outscore people. And it's been pretty full throttle on the offensive side, save a play or two at Georgia and the debacle at Alabama before the end of the half, this
Mm-hmm.
offense has clicked and played really well. So again, I think this is more in that 7 to 10 point range versus the 3-point range. I really think everything is set up for Tennessee to have a mildly comfortable win in this game, and especially if we can get pressure on Mateer and force him to beat us. I think we're in a good
Right.
I think we're in a good place. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, realistically, I don't see us being. If I'm going to give us a comparable, then Ole Miss is a fairly decent comparable.
Really is.
You could possibly argue that they've got a bit of a better defense than us.
They have more consistent defense.
I don't think that that's necessarily going to matter. Yeah, you're right. Because our defense is just different. We score more on defense. We cause more turnovers.
Yeah, get more sacks.
So, yeah, seeing that they've already played Ole Miss at home and that game, even though it was close at times, it really never felt like it was out of Ole Miss's grasp. And I feel like ours is going to go that same way. I don't think it'll ever be. I don't think that we'll ever get to that point where we feel very uncomfortable. We might feel the heat just a little bit kind of early, but I think we win comfortably. Move on to next week and just keep the expectations rolling.
Yeah, I agree. We handle business this week. We don't get anybody hurt in the New Mexico State game, and then we just whip Florida and Peabody's ass to make our case for the playoff. So, Luce, if you had to give me – go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, if you had to give us one best bet, Luce's lock of the week.
Oh shoot!
Which one would you throw out?
Well, hey, let's take it to tomorrow. And if you want a lock of the week, taking Columbus Blue Jackets against the St. Louis Blues. Columbus is -130. Man, I'd just hammer them. The Blues are on such a slide right now; they can't beat anybody.
I don't. A lot of goals too.
I do not see them going. Yeah, they are. I don't see them going into Columbus and keeping this game close. They almost pulled one out last night. They lost in a shootout, but that was honestly against a team that they should have beat pretty easily.
Yeah, shouldn't have come to a shootout.
So, well, and then they had a goal against them that got overturned for goalie interference. So they were really lucky to even make it to overtime. I hate to see what's happening to this team right now. They just can't get it together. They cannot get it together. And I'm afraid that Columbus will they're going to hang it on them.
Yeah, I had that game under 6.5. So
last night.
Yeah, I thought no way. There's no way.
Shoot, I wouldn't take any under on any Blues game right now.
Well, it was more about Vancouver than it was St. Louis. I felt.
Well, yeah, I can see that, but I'd put it on Jordan Bennington and Joel Hofer, and neither of them are playing worth a crap right now.
Yeah, they've just not. I know you're a big Blues fan, so I'm not salt in the wound here. But
no, you're not. Hey, you don't have to. I'm fully aware of what's going on.
I'm trying to give folks perspective. They beat Dallas like 3-1, and they lost to the Kings like 2-1. But since then, dude, they've given up 7 to Utah. They've given up 6 to Detroit. They've given up 6 to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
5 to Detroit. And then, of course,
and some of them have just been ugly, man.
They have.
Some of them have just been ugly.
I know you're sick. I know you're absolutely sick over the goaltending, but they have just given up. They're giving up football scores right now. So that's I don't blame you. That being a battered Blues fan right now over this little stretch of just horrible losses.
Yeah. We'll get it together. We'll get it together, but until we do, I'd be slamming every opponent right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't get any easier too because they got to go to Columbus, then they host Edmonton, who can hang a touchdown on you anytime. Then they go to Washington to face the Caps. They do get a break with Buffalo, but even that's not, guaranteed. And then they get Seattle, Columbus, Philly, or if not Calgary, excuse me, Philly, Vegas, Toronto. Like they just keep coming, dude. So
the good news is that honestly, a lot of the league is pretty wide open right now. So I mean, even though they haven't played well these first 10 games, or is it more than 10 now? We're at 9, 10, 11. We're at first 11 games.
Yeah.
Haven't played well. The season's still pretty wide open. They're not that far behind. And I do believe that they will get it together. So season's not lost, but it needs to start clicking pretty soon.
Yeah, they've got to start winning some of these. And the goaltending just has to get better, period.
You got your best you've got your goalies that are playing like crap.
Yeah.
And you've got you got your best point producer that's injured. Robert Thomas is out. You got Jake Neighbors is out. So they're 11 games in the season. They're already beat up. And some of these other guys like Jordan Kyrou. Jordan Kyrou seems to for whatever reason, he just takes forever to get into the groove of a season. So by mid-season, he'll probably be playing okay. And then our captain Braden Shen, he's not playing well right now. So defense is a mess. Something's got to change. Something's got to change.
Yeah, and I mean, and Bennington didn't play terrible last night. I mean,
No, he started the game strong. You know? But you give up 4 goals, technically 3, but also kind of technically 4 because one of them got taken away.
Yeah.
To a team who's not really playing great offensively, and that's not good.
Yeah. So, all right, another 6.5 is the total in that game. Juice to the under, which is probably right. It's probably going to be the right play, unless
at some point they're going to kind of change strategies and they're going to start locking it down and playing hard-nosed hockey. So you can't just slam the total over every night. And I would not be surprised if we see that tomorrow. It's a very low-scoring game. I could almost see it being a 2-0 game or something like that.
Yeah, because those come out of nowhere. Teams will be hot and score, average 4 or 5 goals, and then they get into one of these 2-1 or 3-2 type games, and I almost feel like Vegas just baits us into doing it. So, but no, I think I'm gonna do a little giveaway. That's why I was asking what your best bet would be. So
all right, cool.
I'll lock you in on the Blues. I'll pull one from Josh. I'm going to throw one out there when I settle on because I'm glad I didn't do it yesterday because it damn sure would have been Tulane minus 3.5. So
yeah,
I'm glad I held off. But I'll throw a little something there, and we'll do a little giveaway if that hits. So
sounds good.
All right, man. Well, Loose, I can't tell you how much I'm glad to be back in the saddle with you, and
absolutely
look forward to finishing this college football season out, and then we still got hot and heavy NFL, NHL, NBA. I'm kind of mad at you right now, so
yeah. I would advise everybody to just not even bother betting NBA right now.
I mean, if you want to throw a few props together or something, fine. But man, it's tough right now.
It's been fine on Prize Picks, but man, it's just too. It's too. It stinks too much right now. There's something funky going on, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, just like Cleveland going into Boston night before last,
right.
Jaylen Brown game time decision with his quad or hamstring, whatever it was injured, and didn't even know if he's going to be able to play. Just he's going to play. And then Cleveland, they go in there and just get hammered. So and
Donovan Mitchell played like crap.
So it's way too volatile at this point. So
The only thing that's reliable right now is that the Spurs are absolutely rolling.
Yeah, Wemby is putting on he's putting on a show just night in and night out. And the only other thing that I consistently go to and like is, of all people, the ball kid for Cleveland who's playing in place of Darius Garland. I mean, that dude is he's just clearing his assist line week in, week out. Vegas, for whatever reason.
Another one to keep hammering Jrue Holiday, because they've got his lines very low, and he's clearing them.
Yeah, rebounds, assists, points, rebounds, assists.
Yeah, that PRA is just killing for him.
Yeah, they've not caught up to him yet. So all right, well, Loose, brother, I appreciate you, man, as always, and look forward to keeping this on the regular, and hopefully my schedule stays in check. But
sounds good, man.
Good luck to everybody. Hope we gave you something to work with, and be on the lookout for that giveaway. So, Loose, take care, my friend.
You as well.
Go Vols, and we will see you next time.
Through all the crazy